You're listening to Yves-François Blanchet, the leader of the Bloc Québécois, saying reiterating the threat, if you will, or the proposal, depending on the language you want to use, that the Bloc Québécois has put forward on 2 bills regarding pension increases for younger seniors as well as supply management, saying October 29th is the deadline, and if the Liberals don't come around to their proposals, that they will open dialogue, in his words, with opposition parties to overthrow the government, saying that he expects the Conservatives to do this, and the NDP, we'll have to see if they rally to help out the Liberals. He said, in terms of a motion of privilege that has been brought forward by the Conservatives that has arguably paralyzed a lot of what goes on in the House of Commons. He said, the leader of the Bloc Québécois says the government has been unable to achieve anything. Why? There's nothing happening because the Liberal Party is being eaten from inside and attacked from outside over what Justin Trudeau is going to decide to do about his future and what the caucus is going to tell him about whether he should stay or go. Karina Roman has been following all this and joins me live from outside. Some interesting comments there, some language there. Eaten from the outside and eaten from the inside and attacked from the outside. I think there would be some that might be in agreement that is a little bit of what appears to be going on.
And certainly this whole idea that the focus right now does not seem for the government to be governing, but to be trying to sort out its own affairs within its own caucus and within its own party. And that is the case that Blanchet is making. That said, I mean, the government would obviously say the opposite, that what they're trying to do is focus on what Canadians need to be done. And it's only us who keep asking questions about his leadership that seems to detract attention from all the things that they're trying to do. The other thing, though, in terms of the paralysis that we're seeing there because of the motion of privilege that continues to be debated, which holds pretty much all government business up and off. Blanchet not saying that they're going to help in any way, in terms of being willing to help with a closure motion or time allocation motion, but saying that it's symbolic or a representation of a government that has stalled. Obviously, everyone's pointing the blame at everyone else. The Liberals saying it's the Conservatives' fault, the Conservatives saying it's the Liberals' fault, the NDP actually siding mostly with the Conservatives on this. So that sort of seems to be a big mess. And then, of course, this October 29th deadline. He says it stays. He says they've been flexible enough. And, there was enough time there for the Liberals to come to the table with what they wanted. So he's not changing that. Interesting that in terms of one of the bills, for sure, that was definitely in the Liberals' hands. That would be the supplementary money for younger seniors needing a royal recommendation from the government, since it's a private member's bill that actually outlines some form of quite large spending by the government. But the other thing, the supply management bill that's before the Senate, the Liberal government has very little control over the pace that goes through. And there have been letters back and forth with the government saying, hey, you want to move that along a little faster. Don't know if that's an indication that they actually do want it moved along. And the Senate kind of coming back and saying, hey, stay out of our business here. So yeah, it seems like what we've said last week is true this week. October 29th looms. So do the leadership woes. That we're not really progressed much past that.
Okay, but just to kind of, are there opposition days coming up? I mean, there probably won't be a budget until the winter if the government survives that. I mean, I guess some of the questioning from reporters there was when the Bloc leader is saying, yeah, but, are you going to have an opportunity? You can start talks. And then, of course, as we keep saying, it would depend on the NDP also wanting to overthrow the
absolutely,
government. Right?
Absolutely. The Bloc and the Conservatives can't do this alone in terms of taking down the government. But there isn't going to be an opposition day as long as they're debating this motion of privilege. And I need to point out again that if this were to actually end, there's another privilege motion unrelated to this that would also then have to get debated. So those aren't unreasonable questions. I'm not sure that he was ready with an answer. The other question that some of us have been asking is, will there be a fall economic statement this year? Because never mind the budget, that often happens in the fall, and it too would be a confidence motion, but it's not statutory. There's nothing forcing the government to bring out a fall economic statement that would actually need to be voted on.
Okay, and then there's the Prime Minister and his leadership, right? I mean, and so where are we on that discussion ahead of tomorrow's, will likely be quite a caucus meeting for the Liberals?
Quite a caucus meeting. Well, the Prime Minister is facing this big caucus meeting tomorrow that all eyes are trained on because, well, I don't know whether the letter that supposedly some MPs have signed will be presented or just talked about, or what kind of conversation will unfold and where that will lead. But that is what the Prime Minister is facing. Today he was facing just Cabinet, and Cabinet, of course, is quite loyal. I mean, you shouldn't be in Cabinet if you're not, and I think it's safe to say you probably wouldn't be in Cabinet if you didn't stay loyal long. You wouldn't hold on to that job. And, you know, some in the Cabinet are very close friends of the Prime Minister, but they all have said, going in, coming out, that they support the Prime Minister and his leadership, and have had some angry words, to be honest, for those who have quietly been talking in the background without releasing their names or putting their faces forward about the move to push him out. That said, coming out of Cabinet, still supportive, but what was really interesting was it might be noted that this Cabinet meeting went on for an hour to an hour and a half longer than it would normally. So that had a lot of reporters wondering what was going on in that meeting. But, you know, asking the Cabinet ministers, have a listen to what they said.
It was a thorough, comprehensive discussion about many policy issues that we have on the table to continue our hard work for Canadians, and that gives me great joy. I love working, and I'm really excited to keep going.
There's a lot of things that Canadians care about. They care about immigration, they care about inflation, they care about cost of living. That's the thing we're talking about. That's what Canadians focus about. For sure. I'll see you back. I have to grab something to eat.
Look, at the end of the day, I'm approaching the tomorrow's caucus meeting just like any other caucus meeting where we talk about issues that are important to Canadians.
You got to be kidding me! It's not any other caucus meeting.
That's my approach.
Who have allegedly signed this letter? Do you have a message to them?
I'm not involved in any of that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other caucus meeting? You know, there have been predictions by some that it will all come to naught and it'll fizzle out. But, you know, not everyone thinks that that's the way it will go. So that's why we all wait with bated breath as to what will actually unfold tomorrow.
We sure do. All right, Karina, thank you. Karina Roman in Ottawa.